Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to maybe rock and roll through a little bit of this. I'm chairing the subcommittee on health, so I get more calls from small business on the Obamacare than anything else. But I'd like to begin by just asking, and if you could be quick and direct, that would be good. Sure. Do you do your own tax return?
I do.
Good. A lot of people don't. When we get to the 50 workers, there's a lot of confusion. Is it 30 hours a week or 130 hours a month?
For the
we got to have the. Let me set this
orient me back to, you're talking about the 50 FTE cutoff.
Sure. We have 12 buckets. We have to put it each month. We create a new bucket of whether or not, how many FTEs we had in January, February, March, April, May. Then we add them up, divide by 12, and see if that average is 50 or more. And a lot of companies, to set the stage, are very worried about weeks. Monday through Wednesday are in one month. Thursday through Sunday are in another month. Their payroll records are by week. So right now, there's 12 buckets. Each month you have to do the calculation. And people are doing it right now, because I should say the employer mandate has not been eliminated. The employer mandate is the law of this country, and it goes into effect January 1. And if people are going to comply, they have to be complying in about 5 months. You may not enforce the penalty, but that doesn't mean the law's been delayed. Right. Most of the companies I talk to they don't want to be law breakers. So you need to be able to define for them how they are not law breakers, whether or not you enforce the penalty. So for each bucket each month, is it 130 hours in the month as opposed, so if you worked 40 hours, 42, then 26 and 12, as long as it added up to less than 130?
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm not going to be able to speak specifically to the tech. I can certainly get you an answer to that question, but right. The underlying technicalities of how you would evaluate your status of having 50 FTE versus 49 FTE in terms of whether your responsibilities trigger for the employer responsibilities, that is something I'm going to have to get back to you on with more technicality. I just don't have that at my fingertips.
So the Acting Commissioner of the IRS doesn't know the rules today, which we're demanding small businesses adhere to, and they're lined up at my office, whether it's a donut shop or a franchise. They are desperately wanting to comply with a law that takes place January 1. The fact that you're not enforcing it until a year from January 1, it is still the law. And I'm certainly disappointed that you can't answer something. That is one of the most fundamental basic questions I had to ask. But let me keep going here.
Please.
If a company had a husband, a wife, and 3 kids under 26, so that's 5 full-time workers, is that one health plan they have to offer? Let's say they don't offer a health plan. Husband, wife, and 3 kids under the age of 26. Do they get penalized 5 times $2,000 or one family times $2,000?
I mean, again, we're going to start to devolve into a situation where there's going to be a lot more facts that are going to need to be asked. And I might not. I'm going to have particular subject matter expertise as the head of the IRS, but the head of the IRS is not going to be the one doing those calculations and providing that legal and technical advice. So it's just it's a question of how we use our resources effectively. And you can go through the tax code in great detail and catch me on a lot of things that I'm not going to know, especially being 2 months on the job. But my commitment here, what I'm saying here is the acting commissioner, and what I'm very committed to you is making sure that your constituents or you yourself have the answers to those questions, because I have professionals at the IRS who are ready, willing, and able to make sure that those answers are as crystal clear as possible. That's the commitment I can make as the head of IRS.
What I'd like to do after this is give you a very detailed list.
Please.
These are the exact questions the owners of the donut shops and small, they're the exact questions they're asking because they want to comply with the law. They do not want to be law breakers. And it starts right now. I mean, here we are in July. This is the qualifying year. And today, the IRS can't tell them whether these employees qualify or not. How do you calculate a bonus? If I give someone a bonus, do I back that into so many hours because somebody has done well? W-2 wages, 9.5% of W-2. What about 401k deductions? Where do they enter it? These folks want to comply with the law. We can't get any answers out of your organization. So the fact that you're not going to enforce the penalty doesn't mean the law doesn't go into effect. And I know most people, if they're driving down the street and the speed limit's 45, they adhere to the speed limit. They don't go 100 miles an hour because somebody said the state police wasn't going to be there. So I'm very concerned because the clock's moving. Come January 1, that starts the next year. So I'd like to follow up with these questions, and hopefully in a very prompt manner you can get them back so I can answer the questions of my desperate small business owners. Thank you.
Ms. Mang.